Oh yeah, she had the crinkly one. She brought me the crinkly one, because that's what I've been working on this morning. Mindy, you're amazing. Talk about the ultimate everything. Mindy is the ultimate everything. I really mean it. And to just the rock star mom of the year, that moment was just amazing to hear your story, struggles, and that's what we're all about. Moms struggle, and we do it all. And I have more to say during the speech, so thank you. Also, thank you to the National Mother's Day Committee, and thank you to No Kid Hungry. That's just an amazing thing. And sometimes I think that I leave my child hungry when she goes, to school, and this is more important. So thank you to the committee, and thank you to that incredible, incredible foundation. So, looking around this room, my fellow honorees, Sierra, Denise, Jill, I am so inspired by the heart, passion, and power and the work that you do with mostly your families and your side job going to work. It's a privilege to be here and stand beside you. So congratulations, please. Okay. So, okay. To be named Outstanding Mother. It's deeply humbling, especially because, as any parent knows, every morning is a chore. Sometimes you wake up at 6 a.m., your hair's a mess, everything's a train wreck. You forgot to make cookies for the bake sale. You forgot to take the dogs out. Your child is missing her favorite stuffed animal that you left on a weekend away. So she's mourning over that, and your husband is, well, I'll get to that, okay? Which is actually really funny. Real time, so I'm gonna go real time, and I know I have some friends in the room that are part of the prom committee and the graduation committee that I am on because my child Maggie is graduating this year, and from high school, yes. Okay, and why I signed up for the prom committee and the graduation committee is a whole other story, but I did. And I just wanted everyone to know in this room that I have enough party supplies to actually, I actually could have funded every table here. I must have doubled down. I think I ordered 10 times the amount that I needed to. Not only could I create my own sidebar company, but I do have a warehouse in my home right now with party supplies for the graduation. So, Claudia, thank you for helping me through that. But I do want to say, this is definitely a portrait of modern motherhood. This is what we do every day. And Alistair, I'm just going to say to you, I probably couldn't do it without you, although I'm going to say one thing. Thank you for getting up early this morning for this big event. And second of all, this is what I said to him this morning. It's so funny. I said, Alistair, you might want to consider getting up now because I'm on my way to get my hair blown out, okay? You might want to consider. And he goes, oh, yes, I'm considering it. That's what he said to me. Okay, let's move that along, Alistair. Thank you very much. And this is true. This is true. This is a real story, and I love the word real. My team knows this. What some of you may not realize is more than 10 years ago, my daughter Maggie looked in the mirror and looked back at me and asked me, Mom, am I beautiful? And in that moment, it just made me really take a step back. And I really thought about how maybe I could use a platform or a moment to change what we do in the retail industry. And to carry on with this moment, I see some of my friends out there in my business. That conversation with Maggie began something really powerful in the company that I operate now, which is Aerie. Well, I started with Aerie, now I'm in American Eagle, which I'm proud of that as well. But it made me realize how important this is. So, long story short, we were trying to break through in the intimate apparel industry. This is an easy story to tell. And because of what I saw my daughter experience, we just had a moment. We're like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? And one day we had this creative moment where my team came to me and said, do you like the marketing? What do you think? And I said, yeah, it's great. They're like, well, guess what? None of these pictures have been airbrushed, not edited. We're showing scars, we're showing patch, everything. And I said, well, now that's a moment. Because why would we ever not celebrate every human being and every woman in this business and everyone? I mean, it was such a magic moment for me, and I was really proud of that. And then it just became so much more. And could you imagine that my daughter was questioning her worth because of perfect images out there? What is perfect? What is the meaning of perfect? So, an area has been, it's unbelievable what we're doing, not only, and I'm promoting my business right now, I've realized, so I'm gonna stop on that. I'm gonna take a pause, but it is so much more. We are a $2 billion business, but on something that was real. And it was something that meant more. And I encourage everyone, and the moms in the room and the business owners in the room, like, do something because it means something, because it will change what you do every day. So, I'm moving on. That conversation with Maggie is why my team and I are here, and Aries Brand's Promise keeps on moving on. Now, we're actually kind of the anti-AI, which I think is just a powerful movement. If anyone saw Sting's interview the other day on the morning show, it was powerful. It talks about community. It talks about that AI is here, but we can do what we want with AI, and I think that's another moment. But I'm going on from there, so let's move on. Maggie, that moment changed everything, probably most everything I did in my life when you said that, but also just being your mom. It's been a lot of work. She's not shy. No, I just, every day watching you grow up and just seeing you blossom, and you're gonna graduate this year, and I hope I don't cry. Okay, so next moment. Walking out to Lady Gaga's Born This Way totally felt incredibly full circle. I am gonna say I listened to the entire Lady Gaga video, and there's a moment in the beginning that I was a little nervous about. I was like, okay, we don't need to talk about embryos, even though I had about 500 to have my child. But Gaga went to Sacred Heart, and I have some Sacred Heart friends here, the same school that Maggie actually attends. And that anthem is a celebration of self-love and radical acceptance. And the very things Maggie taught me when she looked in that mirror. She helped me realize that our greatest responsibility, both as mothers and as leaders, is to empower each other and to be exactly who we were born to be. Maggie, you're my inspiration to the whole world, and thank you for making me your mother. And I love you. Okay, I can't leave this stage, and this is when Mindy, Kleenex. I can't leave the stage without acknowledging my own mother, Pauline McGinnis Foyle, who Maggie shares a middle name with. She was a trailblazer. She began a retail career at the very bottom, and I'm talking very bottom, using her feet instead of her desk. She worked her way up to the boardroom where men had most seats at the table. And it really is true that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm kidding. And a good friend of mine at work and a dear friend always says, Jen, chickens don't have ducks. But I have a couple stories. My mom was hilarious, and I'll be brief on this one. I grew up on a very small island, 200 people on this island year-round, so you do the math. And talk about watching a mother multitask. And I was probably 7 or 8, same time Maggie looked in that mirror. And my mom was running around. I was alone I have older brothers and sisters. And I looked up at my mom. I was trying to close her down. Like, Mom, I just want to tell you something. And she said, what? And I said, you know, Mom, I just want to tell you who I'm going to marry. And she said, who, Jen? And I said, I'm going to marry my brother, Tom. And she looked at me, her faith, literally, she went, it was like Lucille Ball moment. And that night at the dinner table, we also ran. My brother Tom's here, by the way, and he is single. So if anyone in this room, he's here, okay. And we all sat around at the dinner table. And that night, she looked at my dad, Richard, Dick. She said, Dick. When she said Dick, she was serious. She goes, we're moving. Okay, we are moving and we're leaving this island, and a year later we moved, and my mom became like one of the #1 real estate agents in Connecticut. Not kidding. So that's a moment to be proud of. And lastly, my sister's here because she surprised me today, so she wasn't included in my speech, but now you are. Any of those who are in this room as a teacher, you should actually know that what teachers do every day, they're mothers too. And what she's done for 4th grade boys every day of her life is truly amazing. So thank you, Sue, for coming. Okay, onward and upward. Look, this is it's an amazing day, and I really appreciate everyone. And I do want to say one last moment about my mom. When my mom passed, I kept on going back and forth to Connecticut. And one thing she told me, and I also have Sjogren's syndrome like my mother, by the way. My mouth gets dry, so that's another problem, but thank God I inherited it because I'm lucky that that came through. some kind of genetics that I think is okay, because it reminds me of my mom every day. But she told me, it's my last conversation with her, and I said, Mom, like, what do you think about life? Like, I need a life lesson so I can take it and pass it on to my family. And she said, you know what, Jenny? Life's available. That's what she said. So as I think about everything I do every day, whether it's work, I have a lot of passion at work. I appreciate everyone here who deals with that every day. And to the moms in the room and to Giselle, these stories are amazing. Life is available, and we should all just not take it for granted. So thank you. And thank you again for this recognition. Thank you to my family and friends who are here and my AEO team. And let's continue to champion moms. Let's do that. Yeah.